Hey, hockey fans, and welcome back to another edition of Puck My Life. Tonight, I am joined with my good friend Cody. How are we doing tonight, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great. Excited to be here.
Yeah, this was so far for the season. This is probably one of my favorite game experiences that we've had out of the many games that we've both been to, and I'm really excited to jump in and talk about the Buffalo Sabres tonight. How about you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was a fun experience. It's a real good matchup too. A lot of good players out there, especially
Yeah,
NHL
and
high quality ones.
Oh, for sure. And if you're not aware, so this was actually game two of a 3-game hockey road trip that I went on with Cody. The first night was in Erie, Pennsylvania. We watched the Erie Otters take on the London Knights. And then the next night was in Buffalo, where we watched the Buffalo Sabres take on the Colorado Avalanche. And then game three of that road trip, we'll be doing that game experience coming up soon. We actually cut back across Ontario, stopped in London, and watched the London Knights take on the Niagara Ice Dogs. So yeah, this was game two of that trip, and so let's just get into this. All right, so the Buffalo Sabres play at KeyBank Center, located in Buffalo, New York, right there next to the border. Actually, I think once we left the downtown area, it was like 4 or 5 minutes, and we were like
It was real
at
quick.
at the border crossing. It is like right there. And so as you can see here, for us, if we were to drive just out there to this game, it would be 4 hours, 39 minutes, 295 miles. And essentially what Cody and I did when we went on this road trip is we literally just went around Lake Erie, just did the whole loop around. This is the first time I had ever done something like that in like a 3-day span. But yeah, it was definitely a good trip. The time of year we went, I would advise just make sure you're checking the extended weather report. After we got done in Erie, a blizzard blew in. You can hear more about that in the Erie game experience. Go back to the main channel. You can check that out. And wasn't it like a week or two before this, they had to cancel that Buffalo Bills game because there was like 10 feet of snow or something like that, like blew in? It's
Yeah,
something
we got
crazy.
pretty lucky because it was within 10 days prior to this that they got like 6 feet of snow dumped on them, and then it was maybe 3 weeks later they got another like at least 4 or 5 feet of snow when that big blizzard came through right around Christmas time. So we kind of picked I mean, Buffalo's got some rough winter weather, and we kind of slid in there when it was mild.
Yeah, I know. And I had a few people that when I was telling them that we're going on this trip was like, have they got rid of all that snow yet? And I'm like, well, we're going to find out one way or another. And it wasn't that bad. We actually went by the Buffalo Bills stadium and saw that, and all the snow was gone. So we went at the right time. All right, so KeyBank Center, located in downtown Buffalo. I had actually never been to downtown Buffalo before. I thought it was a pretty cool town.
Mhm.
We walked down the street after we got our parking. We'll talk more about that in a second. And then it just opened up, and there's just this big, beautiful arena. It looked like it had a lot of newer renovations done to it. I mean, we walked inside, and it's like this. I just felt like it was very inviting. Like,
Oh, definitely, it was cool.
it like going in here just kind of psyched me up for like we're here to see a professional team play. Like this I just felt like this is going to be good right as soon as we walk through those doors. And yeah, it's cool concourse. It was nice, well lit. It was very clean, tidy. It's just, I don't know, it's just, there was just something about it. It was just really cool. And then here's the inside from up in the top corner there near where our seats were. And this building is just so vast. Like, we drove by it. It was really cool. Like, on the expressway that we went on to get to downtown, it's like up on a really high bridge. And so you were able to see just the sheer size of this building. And then you get inside. And I don't know about you, Cody, but to me, it just seemed like it was that much bigger on the inside. Like, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, it seemed it's a really big facility. Especially on the main entrance side of the building, like the concourse is so wide open. You know, you go to some of these stadiums or rinks, and the concourses are real narrow. Where it just felt really open, and I really like that. And I think I remember telling you there, it reminded me a little bit of Ball Arena in Denver, where the Avalanche play.
Mhm.
Which is another nice stadium, and I really liked it. It was a great barn to watch a game in.
Yeah, I felt like this was a building that was really truly built for like hockey. I know they do other stuff in here. We'll talk about some more of that stuff later, but I just felt like this was just a well-built barn for going in and watching some good hockey, really good viewing angles all around. Where we're sitting up top, it was a little bit of a slight angle, not too bad for the viewing, not as bad as the Canadian Tire Center. You want to know more about that one, you can go check out that game experience on the main page. But yeah, overall, the building, everything was awesome. We'll talk more about those Sabres that are up there in a little bit and what they do with those. All right, so the first thing we like to talk about in these game experience videos for you guys is the parking. So there is a few different lots around. We actually were fortunate enough to find some street parking that was probably what, a half mile or so away from the arena. It wasn't really that bad.
Yeah,
It was
5-6 minute walk maybe.
yeah, it was metered parking, and I think it was like $5-6. And then when the time that we went to the game, actually, we just put enough money into where the meter was going to expire anyways. So it was probably like around $5, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, because I think we paid for an
paying for
hour,
it.
and then parking enforcement ended for the night, so it was like, yeah, not expensive at all.
And we saw some lots that were like $20, $10, and then like some of the close-up parking was like around the $30 range, and some of like the more like nicer parking garages that were closer to the arena. But one thing about this team, we'll probably touch on this more, is that, like we said, it's a really good building for watching hockey, but they don't have like a hardcore fan base like some of the other teams in the NHL. So some of their games aren't attended as well. I think, wasn't there a statistic a couple years ago that they were like in the bottom 3 of like attendance or something like that, Cody? Isn't that something?
I think
them,
so, yeah.
Ottawa, and somebody else that were like the bottom 3.
I think, yeah, they've struggled to put a good product on the ice for a number of years, but I don't know, they're showing promise now.
Yeah, and that'll also reflect some more of what we talk about later on in the video, which is now the tickets. So as far as tickets go, so if you were to go to one of the games now, you can head on over to the Buffalo Sabres website. As you can see on here, they do have some matchups coming up. I clicked on the one for the Calgary Flame just to kind of show you guys what things would be like if you were to, this is just if you were to order off of their site. And as you can see there, to sit in section 327, row 8, you're looking at $52.36 before any fees. Sometimes Ticketmaster will charge you up to about $15 for fees, and it just really depends on the arena and the team, because there's some teams that'll charge you less for the processing, and in an upcoming video we'll talk about another team that charges you way too much for the processing. But for us, I think, Cody, you actually ordered our tickets off of Vivid, if I'm not correct, right?
Yep, I think we ended up paying about $32 a piece is what it came out to, I think.
Okay. And one thing that we actually did was, and this is something that we like to do once we're in the arena, we like to check Vivid to see what tickets are actually going for once we get in there. And this is what tickets were going for just before game time. And you could snag tickets, guys, for cheap as $6. Now that one showing there is only showing one ticket left at $6. And you can see there's a lot of different sections up there highlighted. So, I mean, you can even see the lower level there. 111 was $8 for 2 tickets. So yeah, you can just wait up to game time. They don't sell out their games or anything, and this is a really nice arena to go to, a really good team. I would say they're the best team to watch for the money. Like, I don't think you're going to see a better team on ice for these prices.
Hard to beat.
Yeah, it is definitely hard to beat. So yeah, tickets. I would strongly suggest, guys, head on over to Vivid when you're going to do this. Don't go through the site. As you can see, you're going to be paying probably about $120 for tickets, when on here you could pay like under 20 for 2. So it's not that bad. Head on over to Vivid. If the people from Vivid are watching and they want to sponsor any of our episodes, just hit us up in the DMs, and we'll be glad to talk to you. All right, next up we want to talk about is the merch. So around the concourse, they did have a couple of these little team shops there with all kinds of cool stuff. You can see they have the foam puck like hats. There was actually a group of guys that went around. These guys, I think they pregame before they went to the.
Oh, you had them in
arena,
the
'cause they-
picture earlier. Yeah, they're all those
Yeah,
guys in the Wings,
yeah, they were
Toronto
a
jersey.
little. They were a little tipsy, I think, when they first walked in. They definitely got more hammered as the night went on, and you could hear them like the other side of the arena. They were yelling, hooting,
They were on
hollering.
the glass too, banging.
Yeah, they actually went in and bought. All of them bought like those hats, and they were wearing those hats all around. It's kind of cool. And then they had like the foam saber. I actually kind of wish I would have bought one for my shelf over here, but it was like $12 for that thing. So I was like, yeah. But yeah, it was some of the prices were a little crazy, but they did have 2 of these different tables set up where they were selling a bunch of different merch, signed merch. As you can see, there's some Mighty Duck stuff, obviously some Bills things, and some other NHL memorabilia that they had available. And then on the other side, in front of the other booth that was like this, they had this table set up, and it was for the WWE SmackDown that was going to be happening the next night, I believe, at KeyBank. And you can see there, Cody and I do not know who these people are. They came out and they were signing these shirts. There was a little bit of a line of people back there. I don't know who these people are.
People were excited.
Yeah, people were excited. There was probably about 30, 40 people in line, and it was really cool to see this kind of collab shirt that they did. You know, the WWE SmackDown with the Buffalo Sabres. I actually picked up one because it was limited edition. The price wasn't too bad. It was like $30 for something like this, and they only had so many. And I don't know. I just think it's kind of cool. I really love the old logo of the Buffalo Sabres, and I guess, Cody, they're bringing this colored jersey back, or they already have, right? They brought this one back this year.
Yeah, the reverse retro of the go-ahead is this jersey here. Yeah, I like it. It was dope.
Yeah, I have one of the older CCM jerseys with this logo on it, and it's one of my favorite NHL logos. So yeah, so they were doing this, and they actually had these T-shirts available from this lady that was standing there at the cart. And then also down here at the Sabres team store. So this team store doesn't look like it's very big from the outside, but when we got in, this place was massive. I have to say that this is probably the biggest team store that I have seen for any team thus far on all these trips that we've gone on. They had a pretty decent puck selection. I was disappointed that they did not have a puck with the reverse retro logo on it. I was looking all over for it, and we could not find one. They had stuff from like the used team gear. They had sticks. They had a little bit of everything. I mean, they had so much stuff in here. They had like just sections for kids, just section for women, the men's section, just sections for hats, and then this section was kind of tucked in the back. I was actually surprised this one guy was looking through it, and I think this was this a lacrosse team or something?
Yeah, because I think they have a lacrosse team, and then I think that was all that. Because there's
the Buffalo Bandits, I think.
I think they had some baseball merch in there too for the baseball stadium across the street.
Yeah, so I mean, they just so much of this thing. It was kind of like a big circle, and we just kind of walked around. And we were just blown away with the amount of stuff and how nice this was laid out. Just so much stuff. And then this was the checkout area. And actually, here in the checkout area, pulling up my notes here, this is actually where we were able to find the game pucks that we got, the official game puck. As we said, it would have been cool to have it with the reverse retro logo, but I really do like this logo a lot. The one big drawback to this puck is right here.
We're pricey.
$24. This is, as far as official game pucks go that are in a case like this, correct me if I'm wrong, Cody, but I do think that this is the most expensive one that we've bought that wasn't like, I think in the Ottawa one was more, but that one was an actual practice puck. Like,
I think because I got one so long ago, but I think if you go into Little Caesars Arena now in Detroit, I think they actually charge about that much for a official Red Wings game puck. But I've had one for so long, I haven't had to buy a new one.
Yeah. So I think, this it's definitely in the top 5 most expensive just official game pucks that we've gotten with the case. I mean, we were kind of bummed when we saw the price, but it was a price we had to pay because we had to get it for the collection for sure.
Definitely one thing to, if you could go back to that last picture, kind of gives a good explanation of it. One thing to
Yeah.
keep in mind about this team shop is kind of peculiar. It's actually outside the ticketed area of the stadium or of the arena, and so they do have another smaller team shop, kind of not nearly as big as this, kind of tucked in the corner of the concourse. But you don't actually need a ticket on game day to get into this area. And if you have already gone through and scanned your ticket, they do have a small little security area where they'll stamp your hand. You can go down the escalators, come down, check out the team shop, and then show them your stamp, and they'll let you back into the game. But something to keep in mind, if you're wanting to hit the team shop, maybe do that prior to going in through the ticketed area.
Yeah, great point. I'm really glad that you brought that back up, because what happened was that Cody and I went to that one that was tucked off in the corner, and we were looking at the pucks, and we just wanted to make sure that we were able to look at the whole puck selection that they had in case they did have an official game puck with the other logo on it. Because when we were in Pittsburgh, they actually had 2 different official game pucks in their team store. So we just wanted to make sure we covered all the bases. And so, and in going through this, we're able to pass the information along to you guys, because I don't think a lot of people knew that once they scanned their ticket to go in, they could go back into the team store. They saw that, oh, it's outside the ticketed area, I probably can't go through there. But the lady said there's like a specific one on this side. If you see back in the corner, there's like a black gate, and back through there, and then they just have to check you back in after you stamp your hand. But that's the only spot that you can do it. So just a heads up, I'm glad that you brought that up. Thanks, Cody, for sharing that information. All right, next up is the concessions. Yeah, frog in my throat.
Better buy a soda from the concessions.
Yeah, I know. I've been recovering from a cough, and I've been sipping on water all day, just trying to kind of help with it. And sometimes the voice box kind of gives out a little bit. So, but yeah, so as far as concessions go, they seem to have a pretty good selection. This Odd Club here was actually like carved sandwiches and stuff like that.
Smelled good.
Smelled really good, but they were also like $18 for these things. And then there was like a nice bar over there with your top shelf whiskeys and bourbons and stuff like that. And then there was other bars that were just mainly focused toward, like, they had like the little stands for Budweiser and all that. You can see it's another bar with like some whiskey and stuff like that there. And then just, they got the Bat Blue Zone. They have the burgers. I felt like the pricing for all their stuff was okay. I didn't feel like they were as expensive as like Little Caesars, because some of the stuff in Little Caesars can get pretty expensive. But I felt like they were pretty much on par with all the other NHL arenas that we have been to.
Yeah, going to a sporting event, a pro sporting event like this.
Yeah, and I also felt like too they had a pretty good selection, because as you can see down this part of the concourse, there's literally just one right after another. Sometimes in some of these arenas that we've been to, like, you'll have one, and like 50 to 100 feet later there'll be another one, but you can see just boom, 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 boom all the way around, and just so many options for them. And then there was this guy. I don't know if you remember this guy.
Oh, I remember him.
Yeah, he was hanging out in the concourse. He was like yelling and screaming at people to buy his beer, and then he was all running around the concourse and stuff like that, and had it wasn't even like a special night for anything. It wasn't like 80s night, and he's dressed up like the Conehead people. But
I will say, I love that, that he's that enthusiastic to go to work with the Conehead. But what I also love is that the KeyBank management were happy to let him do that. Like, I think that's cool that, they're letting their employees have fun and have some personality, and you must love Coneheads.
Yeah, and I would be curious. I wish I would have asked him this, if he wears this Conehead to every single game. Like, if there's any the Buffalo fans that are watching out there, let us know in the comments below. Does this guy, because obviously he's there all the time because he works for the arena, so it's like, and he's kind of hard to miss. So let us know if this is just his uniform.
Or if you are the Buffalo Conehead.
Yeah, if you are the Buffalo Conehead, hit us up. We'll get you on here. We'll interview you and see what it's like to be the Buffalo Conehead. Oh man, that guy was fun. You could, like you said, you could definitely tell he was enjoying his job. All right, next up is Atmosphere, and we're gonna show you a little clip before we start talking about what it was like for the atmosphere at KeyBank Center. So, what do you have to say about the atmosphere there at the arena, Cody?
It was fun. Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I think they they did a lot of unique things, I guess, about Buffalo and their fandoms. I mean, I think I told you a few times that I really enjoyed. Every arena's got their. You go to Little Caesars and it's "Let's go Red Wings."
Mhm.
They've all got that chant of that kind of cadence where I don't. It was fun, or it's like in Buffalo, it wasn't that cadence. It was "Let's go Buffalo." Like I don't know, they hit it
Yeah.
differently, and it was I don't know, it was a lot of fun. I liked that.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it would be like because the fans that were there really seemed to be into it. And you can definitely tell it's a smaller hockey market. And I just can't imagine what it'd be like if they were to like pack the house, like
Oh
some of
yeah.
these other teams pack the house just about every night, like in Vegas or, for the Rangers and stuff like that. It's just like, I can't imagine what it'd be like. And one cool thing that they did during the game is during the intermission, instead of doing like let's do the frozen foot race or let's just try to those little pedal cars around. No, they were showing the Buffalo Bills game and on the jumbotron the whole time because Bills Mafia is everywhere in that town, and it was just cool because they just love their city. They love both the Sabres and the Bills. There was guys there that were wearing Bills jerseys, and I think they ended up winning that game. And there was actually a touchdown that was scored.
They lit up the goal horn. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was insane. Yeah, it was just so cool. So yeah, shout out to you guys on that. All right, next up is the puck score. So I gave him a 10 for parking, 10 for tickets, 9 for merch, 8 for concessions, and 8 for atmosphere. So what do you think about this initial score of 45?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, the parking was great. I mean, you can't even go to a junior hockey a lot of times for as cheap as you could. If you buy those $6 tickets, there's not many hockey games that cheap, let alone the top league in the world. So hard to beat that. And the merch was awesome. It was a huge store, had a great selection, and we talked our bit about the pucks being expensive, but other than that, I don't remember other things in there really being overpriced. I actually thought with the outlier of the pucks, everything in there seemed relatively affordable. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had a great time. It was a fun experience.
Yeah, and the reason why I gave them an 8 on atmosphere was just because it seems like they just have a hard time filling the building. And if they were to get even 25 to 30% more fans of what they had that night, it would have been a lot better. And I just don't understand too. It's like with ticket prices that low, it's just like, dude, like there's people that spend more money on a Starbucks drink,
No,
than you go to a hockey game.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing was apparent throughout our whole time in Buffalo. I think is that, I mean, they're a diehard Bills city. We went to that morning of the game. We went out to Highmark Stadium where the Bills play, and I mean, the Bills team store was packed at like 10 a.m. on a Thursday. But
It was nuts.
and so I think maybe what played into that was the Bills were playing Thursday night football, and so I mean, I guess for market draw they were competing against a Bills game. It was on the road, it's in New England, but still I think there's probably a lot of Bills fans that would rather watch the Bills game that night than watch the Sabres play. So who knows? Maybe when they're not competing with the Bills, could be a
Yeah,
big
that is
draw.
true. And there was a lot of people. I don't know if you noticed this too, Cody, but I was looking around the people sitting around us, and there was a lot of people. They were watching the hockey game, but they were streaming the football game on their cell phone, so they were able to do both, which was really cool.
Multitasking.
Yep. And then as far as the Wow/X Factor, I just felt like with kind of encompassing everything that we've already talked about, I felt like they deserved at least another 2 points overall to round their score off to a 47. So I thought It was really good. Very, very good experience. I would highly recommend going to see them. It's just a great time all the way around. Even like staying in the area, like the hotels and all that kind of stuff was not that expensive. We stayed a few minutes outside of downtown and literally we're like almost a straight shot down to where we were at. So like overall, the whole experience that we had in Buffalo was just amazing. Yeah, we went to the Anchor Bar downtown where Chicken Wing started. So go check them out. There was just so much going on. Shout out to Queen City Vintage. We went and checked out those guys too. All the Bills merch, all the cool vintage stuff that they had there. Bills, Sabres, all of it. Just really cool. It's a fun place to go explore, even if you just don't go to a hockey game. So highly recommend it. All right, and Cody's going to talk about something else that we like to do on these game experiences. Take it away, Cody.
Yeah, so we when the possibility is there to go and check out the practice facility, the NHL team we're checking out, we always like to. So in this instance, we were able to go and check out the Lacombe Harbor Center, which is where the Buffalo Sabres practice facility is located. And what's neat is it's located actually directly across the street from KeyBank Center, and there's actually I guess like a
causeway.
Causeway, yeah. You can cross between the two buildings without even going outside in that 6 feet of snow. So we were able to check that out. Really cool, really modern facility. I think it was built within the last 10, 15 years, I think. And if you follow a lot of the NHL draft process, this is where they actually do the NHL Combine every year. So kind of a neat little fun tidbit there. So we were able to go in there and check it out. If you want to go to the next slide here, we can see some of the pictures. They actually had a starting that weekend, because this would have been on a Friday that we checked it out. They were starting, I think they had the like a U8 and U10, maybe U12 hockey tournament there. So there's a bunch of teams in town. Actually, the night before at the game, we were seated next to a rowdy group of young hockey players from Boston. That they not only had the Boston accent, they had the Boston tongue. It was interesting hearing 10-year-olds dropping, I guess, things you typically hear in a Boston accent just coming from a 10-year-old. Very colorful language. But it was a really nice facility. They had it was actually on the 6th floors where the ice rinks are, because they've got 2 rinks in there, and then they had some concession stands. I think at this facility, the Buffalo Junior Sabres will play, which is a youth program there. And then also, I looked up how to pronounce it, and I can't remember now.
It's like Canisius or
Canisius, yeah, college. The local university or college hockey program, they'll play there as well. So I think if we go to that next map here, you'll get a good. This is the main level where the ice rinks are. You can kind of see they got a lot going on. So the 2 rinks, they've got the Junior Sabres locker room kind of up there in the top left, as well as the college hockey team's locker room. Really large facility there. And then obviously it's the whole Sabres training facility. So I don't think they included it on this map, but they've got, their rehab center, their training center, their locker rooms. There's also a hotel in this facility too. So imagine a real hot spot for youth hockey and such, and then especially with the NHL Combine, really great hockey facility.
Yeah, and then as you saw in that first photo, there's a brewery there, and then with this being up on a higher level, I think it was level 1 through 3, I think was a parking garage.
That's right, yeah.
So that was actually one of the parking garages that you could stay at. It was one of the more expensive ones because of the causeway. It was connected right to the arena. So when you went across there, they could check your tickets in on the other side. So it was kind of cool. You could go park in there. You don't even have to go outside, walk on the street, risk getting hit by a car or something like that. Mad Uber driver comes on the road or something, you're not going to get hit. You just cut across the causeway and you're good to go. So yeah, this was definitely cool. I'm glad that when we get the opportunities that we take advantage of going and checking out these facilities and see where these teams train for the NHL. And then it's cool to see how other teams, like you were saying, the Junior Sabres and the Golden Griffins, I think is their mascot. Yeah, that college team. I think they are D1, and how they are sharing that facility with them. So yeah, it's really cool, and I was glad that we took the time to do that. And in case you guys are wondering, we do go to these games. Like, we're not BSing you guys at all. Like, we do drive around and go to these games. So here's the proof in the pudding right there, and you can see a few of the Avalanche players down there. We were going down to watch McKinnon and all those guys warm up. We went back and forth and watched them all. But yeah, we do go to these games, guys. All right, what's left? So this is what's crazy. We start to dwindle the list down, and then the list kind of creeps its way back up. And if you watch the last video, you're noticing there's a new team on there, and it's the Jacksonville Icemen, which was not expected at all to be added onto this list. We're going to go into the calendar view here. So yeah, on Wednesday, January 11th, I actually had an opportunity while I was down in Florida with my dad. We were at a car auction down there, and we actually went and we had some time the one day, and we're like, hey, we could actually go to this game. Jacksonville was like 2 hours and 20 minutes away from where we're staying at, near downtown Orlando. And so we're like, yeah, why don't we go? So we went and added them to our list. And then last night, Mark calls me, and he's like, hey, you going to see any more hockey this week? And I'm like, what do you got in mind? And so he's like, hey, Saginaw's playing Windsor. It's the first time that Shane Wright will be playing in Saginaw as a member of the Spitfires. So he wanted to go see him play. And so he's like, all right, I have to go ask. He's like, I have to go ask my wife just to double check. And I'm like, okay, I'll go ask mine and we'll see what happens. So I call him back 5 minutes later. He was good to go. I was good to go. And then I'm like, I'm going to call Cody. So I tried to call Cody. Cody didn't answer. He was on, what did you say? You were getting a spam call or something like that when I talked to you?
I was on a work call, and I'd also been getting spam calls all day, so I didn't even flinch when my phone rang.
Yeah, so he's just ignoring me. He's just like, nah, talking to that guy. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, I left the house like 10 minutes later, get over there, meet up with Mark, and go to the game. And then you want to kind of describe what happened after the game, Cody, and like what you noticed?
Yeah, well, I guess spoiler to the story is I was at the game myself. I went with my dad and I drove over, and then I thought Tyler was still in Florida, and so I get home after the game and I'm scrolling through Instagram. I'm like, wait, well Tyler's at a game tonight. Okay. Oh, that looks a little bit like Saginaw. And then I'm like, wait, that is Saginaw. That doesn't make any sense. He's in Florida.
Yeah, because it was wasn't it because Mark wanted to go and see the players as they come onto the ice, because there's a spot where they kind of rope it off, and where the players come from the locker room onto the ice, they kind of go through the part of the
the concourse.
The concourse. I was like, I had it and then I lost it. They cut through the concourse. Well, they have the ropes up, and then they have one of those like pads that they can walk on with their skates and stuff. And Mark wanted to go and like fist pump them and stuff like that. And so I'm like videotaping all that going on. And then I think that's when you knew 100% that that's like we were at the same game. It's like, oh, they were over at the locker room, and you didn't even notice till after you got home, right?
Yeah, because I mean, you were in one corner and I was on the exact opposite corner on the other side of the rink. So
we've said it here time and time again. You just don't know where we're gonna end up. We don't even know where we're gonna end up. We don't even know if we're gonna end up at the same place at the same time. So best thing to do is follow us over on Instagram, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But we also got coming up on the 19th. You want to explain what you're doing on the 19th, Cody?
Yep. I'll be flying out to Vegas. My birthday's on Friday, but then Thursday night, I'll be going to the Golden Knights game. They're playing the Red Wings, and so they're my two favorite teams, and so I always have to cheer for Detroit. So it did make me a little sad that I can't cheer for Vegas my first time going there, but I'm still excited. It's gonna be a blast.
You're not gonna be one of those guys who cuts a jersey in half and
absolutely not. Oh my goodness, no, hardcore jersey foul. You'll never see me wearing one of those monstrosities.
Oh jeez.
The only people who are allowed to do that is when you're a parent and you've got a kid playing for two teams that are playing each other. The only allowable time to do that.
Yeah, you're not wrong with that one. And on the 27th, I will be meeting up with Caleb. We're going to be seeing the Ferris Bulldogs, and then the next night, Saturday night, the 28th, we're going to be watching the Western Michigan Broncos. So that'll be interesting. I don't know if Jose is going to go. He's having trouble getting somebody to cover him at work. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with him. So if he can, he wants to go, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens with him. If you want to find out more about where we're going, where we've been, head on over to Instagram. Follow us at Puck My Life. The link will be in the description below. Lots of cool stuff over there. We're dropping reels. We have all the highlights, as you can see here, from the different leagues that we've been to, all the different games that we've been to, even this season and past seasons. We have different shots and clips from all that, all documented on there. There's probably like 300 plus clips just in our highlights tabs. We filled up a couple and we had to start new ones. This is, as you can see here, this is NHL Part 2, and I think you can only have like 100 of these in a highlight thing. So there's plenty of stuff to go over there, cool stuff to look at, all the different things that we've seen. And then if you click on the link in the description on Instagram, it'll pull up this page for you, and then you can follow us on YouTube, which you're consuming it on right now, or you can go over to Rumble. You can follow us on there. And then there's also a few other things that we added on there too. One is the arena tour map, and the next thing is sports leagues map. So if you want to see what other teams that you have in your state or in other states across different leagues, this guy, he does football, baseball, hockey, even I think NASCAR too. So click on that link, go check him out and see what other teams are on there. But if you click on the arena tour map, that's going to pull you up to the Puck My Life arena tour map. This is all of the arenas that I have personally been to in the US and Canada. And as far as NHL goes, the only other team that Cody has seen that I have not seen in regards to the NHL is just the Colorado Avalanche. Hoping to see them at some point. Not sure when that's going to happen. You just never know. Like we said, you never know where we're going to end up. But yeah, this is a cool resource. You can click on any of the icons there, the logos for the team. It'll actually take you to the address of where that arena is located. You can see how far it is from you, and you can kind of see that we definitely have a high concentration of teams around Michigan and Ontario, and yeah, so we're definitely like hitting up that one sector. But you can see our little outliers there, out in Alberta, out in Arizona, Florida, and then some out in Quebec. So yeah, check that out. Let us know what you think about that. You can either comment below, DM us, whatever. So yeah, but that wraps it up for tonight. The Buffalo Sabres game experience, a little bit longer than most of our other ones, but it was a lot to cover. It was a really good experience. I wanted to make sure we got as much of the information out there as possible. And do you have anything else you would like to add, Cody, before we wrap up for the night?
I mean, we're halfway through this season. I feel like we've seen a lot of hockey, and we've definitely got a lot more to see. It's definitely, I mean, it's an exciting point in this season because you're starting to see the top teams in all the leagues kind of start to separate from the other ones, especially the OHL. We just had the trade deadlines. We kind of got to see who were buyers and sellers at the deadline. So a lot of exciting second half regular season to see, and we got playoffs. So it's been a good season. We're only halfway through. Yeah,
and we've been kind of talking behind the scenes with Caleb and Mark, and I've had countless conversations with Cody. We're trying to put together some more trips coming up. We might be doing Chicago. I know we've even talked about a trip in March, beginning part of March, where all 5 of us, Jose included, might actually all go out to Vegas and see the Henderson Silver Knights and the Las Vegas Golden Knights. So we're still trying to add on a lot more teams at the end of this month, which is really cool. I just want to throw this out there real quick. The initial goal that I had at the beginning of the season was to see 15 new teams. I am currently at 13 with adding in the Jacksonville Icemen the other night. After I go and see Ferris and Western, that goal will be done. I've almost already gone through my whole goal list, and it's only been 4 months of the season. And last year, in a 9-month from the start of preseason to playoffs, those 9 months, I only saw 7 new teams. So who knows? We got a lot of possibilities for next month. with Duel in the D coming up and a few other things going on. So we're going to try to keep you posted as best as we can. Like we said, the best place to be in touch with us and see what the new stuff that we're going to be doing is head on over to Instagram and follow us over there. So as Cody said, yeah, there's still a decent amount of the season left. We're going to try to crank out some more of these game experiences. We might try to squeak another one out here pretty soon. So just stay tuned for that. The next one that we will do, I know for sure, is the third game of this hockey road trip, which was the London Knights. And then after that, I think we might jump into the Toronto Marlies and Windsor Spitfires road trip as well and get that rolling for you guys. So if you guys have any suggestions, comments, anything like that, feel free to leave them below or message us on Instagram. So you guys have a great night. Remember, this is all for the love of hockey. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We will see you in the next one when we talk about the London Knights. So adios.